7:30 p.m. We have roll call.
Mr. Banta?
Here.
Dr. Cohen? Here. Mrs. Frankel? Present. Ms. Quackenbush? Here. Mr. Rosenberg?
Here.
Mr. Santana?
Present.
Mr. Spindell?
Present.
Mrs. Wallace? Here. Mr. Barbarillo?
Here. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of or attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Fair Lawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, and sent to the Bergen Record and the Star Ledger. The announcement posting for the regular monthly meeting, along with the date, place, and time thereof, was distributed on September 17, 2019. This will be discussed during the closed work session if needed, and we will have a closed session of September 26, 2019. Regular monthly meeting may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations, and/or grievances and tactics and techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property. The results of these discussions will be made public as soon as possible. Would you please join me in the flag salute? Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to turn the meeting over to our superintendent, Mr. Nick Garcia, who has some comments that he wants to report on.
Thank you. I have 3 comments I want to report out on. First, welcome back to the 1920 school year. Welcome back. It's even a little late, September 26th, but our first regular monthly board meeting. I can officially say that the year's off to a great start. Construction's moving along, everything is on schedule, our kids are all back in school, all 5,200 of them. Everybody seems happy. There's a lot of great things happening in the district. I made the rounds back to school night as best as possible, and just happy to report that things are moving along nicely with the 1920 school year. My second comment, not as happy. There was obviously an incident at Memorial last Friday. It was reported to us. There was a swastika that was found in the boys' bathroom. I sent a letter out to the community. Please start investigating it right away. You know, I cannot denounce something like this anymore. It's not who we are in Fair Lawn. It's not who we are as a country, and it does not sit well with me. What we will not do is brush things like that under the rug by any means, but what we will do is educate our students and our community and whoever we can to, you know, make better decisions and be cognizant of what such hate symbols mean and how hurtful they can be. Since that incident, like I said, you know, we have been working very closely with the Fair Lawn Police Department. One of the first things I did as superintendent was reach out to other superintendents in Bergen County who went through the same thing last year to talk to them about their experiences. Who has been a great resource to me has been the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. I've probably spoken with them every day since it happened. And then they actually hooked me up with their education department, because what we want to do is try to put some type of assembly on for our students so that we could, you know, talk about how hate has no home here in Fair Lawn. I've worked closely with the town council, some local prominent Jewish leaders, several rabbis I reached out to and spoke with this week, and it hasn't stopped there. I received a call from Congressman Gottheimer, you know, saying anything that they can do on their end to help us through this process, and that they were apologizing that we had to go through this. But I just want to let you know, as superintendent, really, it has no place here in Fair Lawn, and we will do everything we can to make this the best district it is. The last thing I wanted to say was tonight's agenda is the recommendation by me to appoint Ms. Nancy Schwint to Memorial Middle School principal position. She's here tonight in attendance, so I'm going to ask if possible we can skip over to that section. But what I do want to say is that she is my recommendation because I think she is the best person for the job. I think started out as a language arts teacher at Memorial Middle School in 2003, became assistant principal at Memorial Middle School, then from there became principal at Warren Point. Her reputation is unbelievable. She is a team player. She is a great educator. She is a great administrator. You know, without a middle of the year retirement. It's not always the easiest, and then you throw construction on top of it, and it just makes it that much more difficult. To have somebody who we think so highly of in the district be the best candidate for that position makes me feel good about it. I think she is just gonna take the torch and run with it, and we're thrilled to make that recommendation before you tonight. Sad for Warren Point, I know a couple of you are here, sad for Warren Point, but the work doesn't stop there. Tomorrow we will be posting, as long as the vote goes the way it needs to go tonight, and we will be posting and moving on Warren Point as quick as possible. But I think it is important that we start the transition process as well. With that being said, I'm gonna ask the board president if we can skip right to that vote.
Okay, I need a motion for P6F. The motion to remove.
Point of order.
Excuse me, I say point of order, but what's the point of order?
Comments before we vote?
No, I gotta have a motion and a second motion, point of order.
Vote in
Before I
order.
can ask for comments, that's the way it works.
Vote in order.
I need a motion and any questions or comments on the motion? Wilkins.
I, as a board member, have very high expectations for the student outcomes of all of our schools and the achievement of children, including all subgroups. Academic excellence is what I expect as a board member, and I look forward to hearing great things in the future. Congratulations.
Any other comments or questions? Mike?
I was thrilled at this recommendation, and I think, besides the fact that Mrs. Schwint knows Memorial Middle School, has been part of that middle school culture, done a great job at Warren Point for us, is the fact that now both of our middle school principals have had elementary school principal experience. So as our fifth graders go up to the middle schools next year, both principals know the fifth grade students, and I think that that is gonna be excellent. Memorial is an excellent middle school, has been an excellent middle school. My kids have gone to Memorial Middle School, and my grandkids have gone to Memorial. My grandson went through Memorial Middle School, so I'm really looking forward to Mrs. Schwinn doing great things, and I know you will. Good luck.
Can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Banta?
Excuse me?
We go public comment?
Not on this motion, no. You can make public comments later when I get to the public comment meeting, or part of the meeting. Right now, we're just voting on the motion for this.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Franco?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Waller?
Yes.
And Mr. Barbarillo?
Yes. This time, we're gonna. Anybody who wants to congratulate, or if Ms. Schmidt wants to say anything.
Wait, before you say something, I want to back up, ready? First, president. Aaron, while you speak,
Where's the shovel?
she doesn't get the gold shovel. She has to burn the gold.
Oh, you didn't get to go on the
Thank
shot.
you. First and foremost, thank you for your incredibly kind words. As you've heard, I began my career back in 2003 at Memorial. That's where I grew my roots, and I am extremely excited for the opportunity to continue my journey where it all began. It is bittersweet, but most importantly, I look forward to working with the administration, with the teachers, with the families, and especially with the students to create a smooth transition for our fifth graders to our middle schools. I had the pleasure of working with Mr. Helfand while I was at Memorial, and I know there are some really big shoes to fill. And I have nothing, I have no knowledge of gardening. I can't tell you the difference between mint, basil, and weed, but I can promise you that I will learn from the students, I will learn from the staff, and I look forward to moving Memorial forward. So thank you for your faith in me.
All right, if any board members want to say, we'll take a 2-minute recess, so you can say, and we'll go to the personal. Oh, my God.
Now we're good.
Oh, my God.
I even made myself, oh, good. I feel good. And I don't feel as scared.
Hey, how are you, all right?
Sorry.
Hi, Teresa, how are you?
Hi, Nick. How are you? How was your summer?
That was wonderful. It was great spending it in Fairlawn.
I'm going to open up the meeting to public comments on the agenda items, only the agenda items. If you have any comments on the agenda items from the public, please step to the podium, state your name, sign in, and then speak to any agenda item. If you have a specific, please tell us the page if you can. We'd be helpful. Thank you.
Rita Pavelich, 3624 Maryland Avenue, page 14. I was wondering, why are the resignations, the positions are not listed? It just says resignation numbers. I understand if you want a confidentiality with the names, but why are the positions not listed?
Mr. Green will answer that question.
Because the reason why the positions aren't listed, even though it could be a very unique position, and then all of a sudden somebody, by process of elimination, you'd be able to say, oh, that's the only type of, oh, you only have one transition coordinator in Fairlawn. So we don't list any positions or names, because we don't want to identify them.
Yeah, but isn't it create not transparency in the district? Because like, I don't know who's coming in, who's leaving.
The personnel matters are confidential by law, so we do it to maintain the confidentiality.
Yeah, that's not being non-transparent, that's
No,
that's
I'm
legal.
just, I looked at other districts like Ridgewood, they list the name and the position. I looked at like other
Some
districts as
districts,
well.
petty districts will do it,
That's
but
right.
we protect their employees' confidentiality as much as possible.
Page 7, when you have the marigolds, I was wondering, how much money will be saved for the school district with marigolds for the business administrator? Because the marigolds are confidential, I think, with personnel.
No, they're right here.
Oh, okay.
They're right up there, the display copy right there.
Oh, I need it.
No, they're right there.
So on the page right there.
Those are the miracles.
Oh, okay. But how much is it gonna be saved for a district with these marigolds? How much money?
Cost, or how much is it going to save?
Saved.
I guess it's. You know, I'll tell you that.
I mean, it's gonna be, I mean, one of the goals alone represents $150,000 into the district, so that's just one goal.
I have a question. So without these marigolds, these savings will never, could not be put in?
So the purpose of a merit goal is for it to be something above and beyond what you already do as your job. So, you know, merit goals were created, so we have our job responsibilities. If I was the superintendent and I received merit goals, it was something that is just unique and different that I'm probably not doing on a daily basis throughout the school year. And that was the purpose of what these 4 merit goals are. I mean, we brought these merit goals through the, we brought them bunch of different ideas to the personnel committee and batted them around and said, like, what do you feel to the committee and to the whole board that this is above and beyond what business administrator would do? And then that's how we came up with what merit goals we felt comfortable with as a board.
Question, since you have a copy, are you gonna list it online, or how do I get a copy?
You can look at them right now.
Thank you.
Good evening, Liliana Galindo, Fairlawn Education Association, and teacher. We, the association, would request a copy of the merit goals.
That's it.
That's it.
Hello, David Tracker, 310 Allison Street. I just want to congratulate you with your choice of Mrs. Short from Memorial. I first became aware of her when I was lucky enough to be on the interviewing committee for the Lindquist principal, and I remember walking out that night after interviewing Mrs. D and Mrs. Schwint, saying that we'd be happy with either of them. And then Mrs. Schwint got more appointed next year, and now I had to see that should be a memorial where, you know, personally my son will be there for the next 4 years. So that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to confirm a few things. First question, I know in the previous months you had enrollment here by school. I couldn't find it here. Is it listed or?
September's not over yet. It'll be an October agenda.
We don't put it in the September one because there's still registrations going.
Okay, all right.
It changes day to day.
Then page 11, I suppose the last three items, Memorial Middle School trips are sponsored by Memorial Middle School PTA.
The bottom two are student responsibility. I have to check on
So
the
the,
Calvary Temple one for you.
so the students or the parents rather, they themselves. Okay. Then, page 27. Approval of school use. I suppose organizations, not PTA, PTO, but organizations that use the school premises pay for the use of school premises. Do we have?
27?
Oh.
It's 27.
I don't know that it's on the internet. What I got from the internet is.
well,
School
this-
use?
What's the item number?
Item number F5 on the business B, approval of school use.
27.
Oh, okay, 26.
Yeah, no, because something's changed. Right.
So I suppose the organization that use the school premises, they pay for the use, right? And it was somehow negotiated in a reasonable manner, good for the board.
This is just PTOs and PTAs. So what we do is we have everybody submit what they're anticipating using the schools for, and we do all PTAs and PTOs. When an individual organization wants to use our facilities, they have to complete a facility use form. Depending on what kind of class or organization they fall into will depend on whether we charge them or not charge them. So of course, if it's somebody from the town using something, there's no charge there. If it's an organization that's local to Fairlawn, there's no charge there, or sometimes there's a custodial charge. So if somebody wants to do something on a Saturday, we make them just pay for the cost of the custodian to come in and open the building. And there's a policy that's on that you can find online.
Okay. So do we have organizations that are neither PTO nor board, like not affiliated with anything? Do they ask us to use facilities and then do we charge them?
We do, yeah. Something that our business office handles on a day-to-day basis. People are constantly using we've increased the regulations, we're gonna increase our rates again once we have air conditioning and the auditorium and the gym, so expect the rates to go up, but, yes, we do charge and we do handle that in the business office, yep.
Good. Okay. Page 28 here, and this is item D, naming of additional depository of Board of Education funds. Page 27 here. Then
Which one is, what's the item number? Oh.
item D, naming of additional depository of Board of Education funds. Is it a new practice or existing? Is it something new that we're going through, or this has been going on?
No, this is something new, we had to do.
We always put a motion in May at a reorganization meeting that lists all of our depositories. We have to do that by law. We just have to do a change of an account number. So it was just a,
Okay, so the procedure has existed in the past, now we're just changing account number. It's
we just had to
This
change
is all
one
it.
account number.
That's
Yep.
all, just checking the account number.
Yep.
That's all.
And in the interest of transparency. we have to-
On the same, I have here on the same page, item E, about buses.
Yes.
I'm a little confused, 5-year lease purchase. Is it the lease or is it the purchase?
It's a, because we're a school district, it's not a lease, it's a lease, meaning we own it at the end of the lease.
Oh,
So we're gonna own the bus and it's leasing it for 5 years, but it's not a lease like your car where you're gonna give it back. So it's called a lease purchase.
okay,
It's ours, we own it.
Yeah.
okay. And the last question, item F, down below, approval of educational services for substitute teachers.
Swing,
Similar question, have we had agreement with this organization in the past, or we're just contracting with this organization for the first time, and we had contract with somebody else before?
This is new, and this is in addition to the contract that we have for our substitutes already. This is, these are the subs for the subs, as we like to call it. This is, you know, in our high months, December, May, June, we see a high absentee rate. And the most important thing we want is somebody to be in front of our students, so that there is coverage there at all times. It's what Swing does, it's a supplemental sub-service. So if we go to our normal sub-service and they can't find the sub for us, then this is the backup service we'll go to, and we'll try to go through their pool of substitutes as well. So it's kind of like a little insurance policy for us. And it doesn't cost us any more, it's if we're using them, we're paying them, if we're using another one, we're paying them. So it's not like it's costing us any additional money.
I see. So, could you just confirm that first, you review the organization for the quality of these teachers, you go to references, background checks, whatever, make sure it's good quality, first, and secondly, you already answered, it's the same cost. So, you review the quality, right?
Yeah. Well, they do that. They do that on their,
Their
as part of their
contract
contract.
requires that they do the background checks,
Yes,
quality checks.
And quality of the teachers, right?
yes, but you gotta also understand too, this is a problem in every district in Bergen County and the state substitutes. It really is. It's not just here, it's every district. And I can even talk to administrators all over, they have problems. Because people don't come in at 8 o'clock in the morning to get phone calls, I'm not coming in.
It happens.
New Jersey,
I'm just telling you.
New Jersey.
There's only like 3 of them that actually provide substitutes.
Oh,
New
There's
Jersey.
not a lot out there, no.
oh,
New Jersey is very difficult for substitutes because we are so stringent in the criminal background checks and the requirements that you must have before becoming a substitute, whereas some states only require a high school diploma. So they would have a higher number of substitutes than a state like New Jersey. So because it is so difficult with fingerprinting, criminal background checks, what our requirements are, it makes it very difficult to find substitutes at times. And when you have 70-something school districts in Bergen County alone, pulling from the same pool of people on a Friday in June when it's really nice out, makes it difficult. So we're trying to hedge our bets a little bit.
okay, thank you.
Well,
You're welcome.
Hi, Mildred Shower. Evelyn Road, 1938 West Portland. I just want to, as Place President, I want to say that we're thrilled with the selection for Memorial Middle School. Nancy has been such a huge supporter of special education, of plays, of just our district period, so we're thrilled. And as a mom, granted I don't have a kid there yet, but I do feel better now when my child will be getting there to know that they're gonna be in Nancy's hands. So I wanna thank you guys for an awesome vote, and I wanna congratulate Mrs. Schroeder. If I knew, I would've brought you flowers. I'll bring them to work tomorrow.
Anybody else from the public, any comments on the agenda?
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry to bother you. I'm sorry I didn't get to see the map. I'm Rita Carvalho. I'm looking at the goals, and I'm a little confused how they're saving $150,000. I don't see them. The fourth goal says minutes of construction. The third goal says
It's
food
based on the
preparation.
interest, so the interest amount, the goal that refers to the interest
But
revenue.
the first goal says the deposit. I'm sorry, I just don't see, maybe it's not clearly written, maybe somebody can point out something to me that I don't see. The food preparation or something like that doesn't seem to show me $150,000.
Thank you, Rita.
You have no comment?
No, I'm not explaining that right now.
Would I get an email back or somewhere to explain?
I'll write it down.
It's $25,000 of taxpayer money, that's a lot of money. I know it doesn't seem a lot to a lot of people, me as a teacher, it's a huge amount of money. And if I have to pay for it for my taxes, I should be able to know why is it being paid and how is it gonna help the school district and the kids.
I hear your concern.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing none, any board comments on the agenda items? Mary?
Is this when I can comment on S1?
Yes, you can.
So we have 4 retirements and, it's page 5, and we have 4 retirements, and I just wanted to wish each of them well. They come from all different areas. As you can see, we have a paraprofessional who is retiring, and I can't say enough about our paraprofessionals. They deal with our most vulnerable population. We have a custodian who is retiring, and there too, we all know that we can't do without the custodians in the buildings. And that our children love our custodians just as much as we love them. We have also a resource room teacher retiring and again, this is a person that deals with our, with children who have needs, special needs, and, you know, again, we wish her well. Finally, Al Barton, I know him well, I worked with him, he was my daughter's teacher as well, a wonderful man. So again, I just want to wish all of them a wonderful retirement and thank them for their wonderful years of service to our school district.
Thank you, Mary. Come on.
I just wanted to comment on item E1 on page 8 about the restorative justice training, and I know this was added to the agenda since the work session, so I'm commenting on it now. I just want to say, in following up to Mr. Mercier's comments about working with the Anti-Defamation League around what we can do as a school to better convey our values as a community, our values as a district. I'm really pleased to see the district, I think this is the second professional development on restorative justice, which if I understand it correctly, it's an approach where you actually facilitate students teaching their peers about issues of social belonging and groups and power and structural inequalities, and to be able to facilitate dialogue among kids, talking to kids about these things from their vantage points. I think it's super 21st century, it's sorely needed in Fairlawn, and I just want to support the administrators in pursuing this on behalf of our entire district. It's a really important direction to make progress in this area for all of us. So thank you.
I mean, that was in light of, obviously, after last week, Dr. Dina pointed it out, so I was saying this would be, let's add this one on for us.
Any other comments on the agenda? Welcome.
on G1, on page 3, as I have said before in previous board meetings, I would like, I believe, as I have read the minutes carefully, the minutes of our meetings are extremely general. I would like to see what board members actually comment and what the public actually stated to the extent permitted by law, not a general view of what was said. I think it is time to do things in a different way. Just because we've been doing something the same way for many, many years, it doesn't mean we have to keep doing it the same. On S1, page 5, congratulations to all retirees. Page 7, S3A. First of all, before I comment on S3A, I would like to say that my comments in no way reflect on the great job Ms. Brooke is doing on behalf of the district and the children and the taxpayers on her alone. I strongly believe this Board of Education should not be in the business of granting merit pay. We are a public body, not a for-profit corporation. If teachers who teach our children how to read and write do not get merit pay, no employee should receive it. And neither should we expect our taxpayers to pay for it. It is time for a new direction for this Board of Education and to think outside the box. On E2, page 8, I'm sorry, E1, page 8, restorative justice. We have that in the state of New York. I don't have a problem with restorative justice as a board member, but I would like restorative justice not to tie the hands of teachers. On E2, 8.
What do you mean by that comment?
I don't have time right now to elaborate. I will elaborate later on. On E2, 8, I believe board members up for re-election, this is my belief as a board member, should abstain from voting for field trips that are taking place after January 1st, 2020. On P6F, page 22, we have, I already made a statement, yes, I take that back. On F18, I don't have the page, F18, apologize, I don't have F1, F18.
There is no F1A.
28.
F1, well, it was, this is the discrepancy. Page 25, there was an A on the agenda emailed to us.
This is F1.
Thank you to the Mills PTA for your generous donation to the district. On F, again, it was F5E, but on the paper agenda, on F4 and page 27, this item was not listed on the agenda for a workshop meeting. The one that we actually received by email, which I took several hours.
So about F4 being the board treasurer's report, August 2019, correct?
No.
This is F.
Uh,
That's what I'm looking at.
F,
Which one are you talking about?
F5E,
F5P is the lease purchase of new school buses?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, this item was not listed on the agenda during our workshop meeting, at least not to the one we received prior to the workshop meeting. And I double checked before I wrote this comment, which took me a long time. So I am questioning why is this, hear me out please. I am questioning why is this on the agenda, because in the agenda we received by email, it was actually not there. And I compared it. So I don't know if on the agenda we actually received at the workshop meeting, it was there. But when we received the agenda by email, it was not. And I triple checked. So if we are to receive the information on that we're going to discuss at a workshop meeting prior to, and then when we have the meeting, it's different. We don't have the time to analyze and ask the pertinent questions, which I open it and
But it's right here, I sent it to the whole board so that they had time to review it ahead of time. I mean, the transportation is right there.
Okay, I'm talking about when we had the workshop.
Well, listen, but the workshop agenda, as I have said in the
Okay,
past, is a work
Let him
session,
finish, let him
is a
talk.
work
He's
session
responding to it.
agenda. I send the agenda several days ahead of time. Everybody has it so that we can have a work session, we can prepare, we can discuss, we can talk about things. But everybody also knows from there up until now, things change and we add, we take things off. And then that's why ahead of the board meeting, I send it to the board members, say, here is the final draft of the agenda. You have it well in advance of the meeting so that you can look at it before tonight. So this is not like, I know that everybody got a paper copy now, but they also had an email ahead of time. That's it.
Is that the email we received the day before the meeting?
They received it yesterday.
Okay, that's not enough time. That's not enough time.
Okay.
The day before the meeting. I don't have the contract to vote on this, so I will vote no.
This was voted, by the way, this was voted for the budget, and this was budgeted already.
I would like to
Just
see.
to let you know.
I do not have the contract. I have not read the contract. On FIF, same thing. I don't have the contract. I don't have enough information to justify my vote.
Which one is that?
FIF,
Swing,
yes,
Okay. Anything else?
that's it.
Thank you. Any other comments on the agenda from the board? Okay, seeing none, oh, Mike, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, because I just changed my thing. I want to thank you I want to thank the administration for F5F because I know that the Education Association has been coming to meetings, a bunch of meetings, questioning the lack of substitutes and not having substitutes in the building. And I know that we were talking about this, and you brought it up I think you brought it up at least twice. Yeah, at the August meeting, and I appreciate that it came into fruition. And the only thing I need to know is what you already said, which was that it was the same price. And I know that the regulations are very strict. They have to be fingerprinted, they have to have a substitute certificate for the state of New Jersey, at least a county substitute certificate, so that's correct, right?
Yes.
Right, so they all have a county substitute certificate, they're all fingerprinted and background checked as per the law. I believe the school buses were budgeted, so that's why that didn't pass my radar when I was going through it. I wanted to just make a comment real quick on the page 17, P5B.
Page 17?
Actually, I'm sorry, page 18, P5D, okay, which is our middle school clubs. You know, one of the best things that we have in our high school is the fact that kids are there all the time. If we went to the high school right now, there are kids there, I'm sure, either in band or one of the after-school activities, still at this hour in our schools, taking advantage of our programs. And I love that. And I realize that we don't have that freedom with the middle schoolers because of their age and they're not mature enough to stay there that late, and you probably can't get them to stay there that late. But the amount of clubs and after-school activities that we have for our middle school really hits a lot of different kids, and it's a really good thing that I think is unique to Fairlawn. Not unique to Fairlawn. There's certainly clubs in every middle school. But what I think is unique to Fairlawn is the amount of clubs that we offer and the amount of extracurricular activities that we offer to middle school, to our middle schoolers. And I thank you for continuing that practice. And I think that is money well spent. And and I hope it always continues long after I'm on the board. And that's it.
Thank you. Cindy?
I was wondering if I could ask Paul Green a question. Is there any reason why I am prohibited from voting on the
No.
field trip? Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing that, we're gonna go into the agenda. Yes. Can I have a motion to, G1 approval of minutes? Motion to accept G1 and 2, there's no items on G2.
So moved, second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Frankel?
Yes.
Mrs. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Santana?
No on G1?
Mr. Stendel?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes. G2, there's no items. If there was anything else, I would say yeah. All right, S1, retirement resolutions, retirement resolution of Susan Stern, retirement resolution of Gasper Alessi, retirement resolution of Barbara Noda, retirement resolution of Albert Barton. S3A, Business Administrators Board Miracles. Can I have a motion for S1 through 3?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
No on S3A, yes on everything else.
Mr. Stendel?
As stated at the workshop meeting, no on S3A, yes on everything else.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes. E1, attendance at conferences, conventions, and workshops. E2, approval of extracurricular trips. E3, no items. Can I have a motion for E1 through 3?
So moved.
Second.
Lisa, Mel, Emil. Roll call, please.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel? Yes. Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Stendel?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes. P1, approval of appointments. P2, approval of resignation retirements. P3, approval of leaves. P4, change of personnel assignment. P5, additional compensation, and we already voted on P6. No, P6F we already voted on, so P6, A, B, C, D, and E. We already voted on P6F. Can I have a motion
So moved.
for all P
Second.
except 6F?
You got a lease and who's the second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Banta?
Aye.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel? Yes. Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Aye.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Stendel?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Aye.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes. SE1, approval of tuition transportation. SE2, approval of bedside home instruction. SE3, approval of related services for classified students. Can I have a motion for SE?
Second.
1 to 3. Roll call.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel? Yes. Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Stendel?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes. F1, approval acceptance of gifts and grants, approval of discards. F2, F3, approval of bills payable. F4, approval of monthly reports. F5, other business, which is the application for free use for educational space and school use. That's it. Never, yeah, F1 to 5, can I have a motion for F1 to 5?
So moved. Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Franco? Yes. Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
The reasons that I stated, no on F4E and F4F, yes on everything else.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes. Okay, at this time, I'm gonna open up the public comments on new business. Just keep it to new business, please, okay? State your name, and state whatever new business you wanna discuss.
Evening, gentlemen. Craig Miller, Brennan Terrace. I know these meetings can be long and dragged out. And I know we all don't agree on things. One thing I will ask is that when you question or anything, less is more. I know these meetings can go on for hours, and my second part comment is, any way of looking in the budget to get padding on these chairs? Because the reason why I say that is I could be here for 3 hours. I can't sit on these chairs. Maybe high school kids can. Maybe one day the board can switch chairs, let them sit on these chairs, and have us sit on those chairs and see how quick these meetings are.
To be honest with you, Craig, last week it was the light bulb on the scoreboard, padded chairs.
Hey,
I'll take these questions any day.
I could go on,
People lobbing these questions into us.
I'm all over Fairwood. I give the council a hard time.
No, that's fine, thank you.
But yeah, if there's anything in the budget and we can get padding or upgrade chairs.
Anybody else?
David Trevor, 310 Allison Street. Couple of things. One, I want to thank the board for their role in the new field at Center Rec. I think, if I remember, the board's paying part of it or whatever.
Yes, it was not noted in some post yesterday, but thank you, I appreciate that.
And I think that's great that it's open, and I know my kids will start. My kid's using it right now. It's marching band. I think tonight's the first night they're on it. And
Matter of fact, they just put the schedule out how everything works.
yeah. It's gonna be fun figuring all that out over the next weeks for soccer.
Right now, we got it all scheduled.
Right now. Also, I want to reiterate my comments from last week about REACH. I just want to congratulate you and Mrs. Dean, all the work you've done to this point. And I know there's still a lot of work to do on it as, the kids finish their testing and trying to figure out, who goes where and all that. And I've seen a lot of, a lot of parent comments related to how the criteria is going to be chosen, and I know that that's all still things to figure out, and that's not something, I mean, personally, I don't think that's something that needs to be like a public matrix, but I just, the one thing I do hope is that the communication continues to be strong. I know in my school it happens to be strong because Mrs. D is there and she's putting it together, and I hope that it's as strong in the other elementary schools as it is in Lindcrest, and I really think there's a lot of promise for this program, and I look forward to seeing it follow through and being great. I second what we talked about the auditorium air conditioning, because we're back to school night on Monday, and hopefully that's the last event in there without air conditioning that I get to attend, because it's caught us on a 90-degree day, and that was great.
REACH, there's going to be another follow-up presentation soon. The second thing is the air, hopefully, fingers crossed, by next week.
Awesome.
Fingers crossed.
That's a plus for it.
No guarantees.
And one other question, is it a new policy not to read the retirement resolutions anymore? Is that something you guys have decided to do?
No, I skipped it because there was a little issue with it's redundant, it's the same thing, and we're going to have redundant stuff, but we are in times, as far as comments, we're limiting the comments to 1 or 2 people, that's it.
We're going to look at restructuring how we
How we
customize
do
it more, make it more personal.
I want to make it more personal, so tonight it was just the same
Sure.
paragraph.
Okay.
Trust me, I know all of them, and I wish them all the best of luck.
Oh, no, I didn't say you were sliding out, I just was curious what the thinking was, and now I've got it. So that's
Mr.
fine.
Barton and I were laughing the other night back to school, now we're going to talk about his retirement.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? New business? You getting up, Mel?
Mel, what place is buying new chairs?
No, Mrs. O'Shea would like to invite you guys somewhere.
Okay.
Casino night, November 21st.
Kelly O'Shea, 1501 Verdun Avenue, and I'm also the PTA president at the high school. And we'll be so happy when the air conditioning.
I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be so cold in there, they're gonna hang meat next week. So everybody better
Well,
bring
I will tell
sweaters.
you, when you're standing up there,
I know, I've been up there.
speaking to all those people, I felt like it was
The
130 degrees.
first person says, wait, it's way too cold in here.
Just a reminder about the Unplugged for Autism that's coming up from the high school, right, October 10th. Just a reminder, and hope that everybody can come out and support the great program.
Do you know what time it starts?
I believe 7. I will look
It does
on my
start at
calendar,
7.
it is 7.
It's 7.
So,
Yes.
we need to thank you, and I'm not there, but we need to have that conversation as a board. That is one of the greatest nights in Fair Lawn. If you have not gone, it is unbelievable. Unplugged for Autism, our staff works together with our classified students to put on performances. I mean, you wanna talk about heartwarming and bringing a tear to your eye in a great way. It really is unbelievable. It's also our work session night. So I'm gonna throw it out there and say, we need to figure something out here, or we just come together as a work session. But if you haven't seen it, I say we do a trip as a board to Unplugged for Autism, because
Yes.
really, it
Yes.
brings us back to
Yeah,
why we do
exactly.
what we do sitting here every day, every night, every month. Because it really is that great of an event. So just put it out there. My 2 cents, Kelly's 2 cents. You can move on.
Any other comments, public comments for new business? Okay, seeing none, any board no. I'm going to board comments now, I'm saying, public's done. Board comments, keep them to new business. Cindy?
Yes, I would like to know, since the casino night at the high school is on November the
21st, which is our board meeting.
which is a board ed meeting.
We have discussed possibly moving the board meeting.
Thank you.
We are not just talking about it.
I understand.
Okay, no problem.
Thanks.
Emily?
Assuming that we have a work session in October at some day, at some time, I would like to request if the administration is able to present enrollment numbers from September at the work session, so it gives us the night to be able to discuss if we want to, instead of presenting it at a regularly scheduled.
Yeah. I purposely skipped September because of, one, we still have people, believe it or not, registering today in Fair Lawn, but also because we'll have the most accurate numbers. It very well, even if we have the work session on October 10th, it may not be at the 10th, it may be the 17th, because the most accurate number is October 15th. That's what guides us by the DOE guidelines. But in some way or form, they will be presented in October.
So my recommendation is, even if they're not the final numbers, I would still rather see them for the first time in a work session than a business meeting, so that we can discuss them. I feel like at a business meeting is not really the place to have group discussion on things like that at length. So even if they are a little bit, not quite the final numbers that are reported to the state, I think they're probably close enough. And I'd be curious to know too, if the numbers we saw in October of 2018, was that at the October 15th, like, because we want to do the year-to-year comparison, so, okay, so that's one thing. The second and last thing that I wanted to mention, and this is to the full board, is at our last work session, we discussed board goal number 1, which is to continue to restructure, or to reconsider our committee structures and processes and the way our meetings run. And we left it that Mary, myself, and Ron, we're gonna iterate a little bit on a survey instrument for all 9 of us to be able to provide input in advance of a group discussion around some possible revisions for this coming year with our committee structures and meeting procedures. I just wanted to give everybody the update that I drafted the document just this afternoon and got some good feedback already, and I'm continuing to get feedback from Nick, Ron, and Mary. And then, assuming we have a work session again in October, what I'd like to propose for a timeline is that we all commit to completing the survey before the work session. But the work session, I can just bring the raw data to everybody, and that we add that as a work session agenda item for October. So everyone will get at least a week to have a chance to go online, type in their responses, and then I will not analyze anything, not interpret anything. I will just compile raw data of what people write and say. No names on it, anonymous. And that will really help us make some progress with board goal number 1 immediately, so we can get some traction going on that. So I just wanted to throw that out there to everybody, give you a heads up. If you want to see the survey before it goes out, to give input on the questions, email me within 24 hours, let me know that, otherwise it will just go out. And if you have any problems with the timing, also feel free to let it be known.
Yeah, if you want to email out to them just a rough draft, because there are a couple more things I didn't get a chance to respond back to. I responded a little bit to it. I just wanted to review it one more time. I had a couple things I wanted to add to, so I don't think, thank you for doing it, though. Mary.
So I spoke with Ron before the meeting, and I will be contacting Matt Lee for our next board retreat. And I just want to notify you that you should be, we have to wait for the dates that he provides us, but I am going to say to him that we don't want the board retreat before the election, so that if there are new board members, they can come to that board retreat along with the present board members, and that they can be part of and have input and so forth. I am giving that there's about 5 Saturdays there that we will be available. And again, I haven't discussed this with Emily, but I think there too, that survey is going to be very important, because one of the things that we should be doing at the board retreat is continuing to work on our goal 1, which is a work in progress. So I just wanted people to clear the calendar, kind of keep some weekends. I'll try to get answers from him fast and get them out to you fast, okay? All right.
Thank you, Mary. Elise.
So, I hope this is the right time to say this. We have the work sessions, and basically we go through the agenda at the work session, and then go through the agenda here. When we used to have work sessions, it was more topics, like what they're just brought up. So it was, maybe there were 3 topics that we wanted to discuss as a board, but it wasn't like action agenda items that we were going to be asking questions about, like if we email you a question or something like that. And I was just wondering how the board felt about.
It's actually one of the survey questions.
Okay,
No, I'm just letting you know, that is one of the survey questions.
Because I think it's, if we have 4 topics we want to discuss, like the 2 that were just mentioned, and maybe a couple other things, if there's a question on an agenda item, we could bring it, like add that to the agenda, but it wouldn't be just going through the agenda, and are there any questions on S's, on P's, on E's? I don't know, I like the, just food for thought. It's not, I didn't mean to have it discussed now, I just didn't have what's in the survey, and I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, that was one of the survey questions. Anybody else?
I just want to go on record to say I like that idea. But we'll see. I'll see how it's worded on that survey, because I like a hybrid kind of deal. Because I think we forget that we need work sessions on certain items. I just want to talk real quick about the incident at Memorial with the swastika. And it's a shame, and I feel very passionate about this subject. I have a lot of family members that got killed, quite frankly, in the Holocaust. I just wanted to make sure that people knew, though, that this is a problem in many schools. This is an issue that has happened in many schools over the past year, in many different ways. Glen Rock today, I was actually gonna just say that, and more than one in Glen Rock today. And we do, I do strongly believe that we have to talk about this issue and this issue of diversity, especially as this town gets more and more diversified. I believe a couple of years ago, we were the most diversified town in Bergen County. I can't imagine that has changed, because if anything, we've gotten more diversified, and it keeps changing every day. And I think that is the job of the school. One of the jobs of the school district is to keep up with that with our students, to make sure that no students feel different in the schools, and we embrace the diversity rather than especially in that we're going to the Jewish New Year and the Jewish holidays this week. That being said, I also don't want to make it blow it out of proportion. Because, as I said, it's happening in a bunch of schools, and there's many different reasons, and we could go back and forth and give the reasons why kids do what they do. But I love the fact, thank you, Nick, for bringing it to the ADL, because they were a great resource when it happened in my middle school last year, and it had happened in the high school too, in the town that I work in. So I appreciate you getting on top of it, and you have 5,200 kids, and it's one incident right now, and hopefully there won't be any copycats or anything like that for effect, because that's what middle school kids like to do. And I appreciate it. I also want to say I hope we continue to keep going with the education about vaping, that because the epidemic keeps getting larger. I was very happy to see at TJ there was a really nice presentation by the principal, and at the high school, Care Plus was there, not Care Plus, Children's Aid was there, who was the people that went into both middle schools and both and the high school last year, and did a parent session for the middle schools and the high school that I attended, and they do a great job at teaching our kids about that, and we have to keep going, because the problem's not getting better, it's getting worse, and it's one of those societal problems. It's all over. So, thank you.
I want to echo the comments of my fellow board members, especially Michael Rosenberg. We have, brings a lot of pain to my heart to hear of all of this bias and prejudice incidents going on, and you know, we need to do a better job. We need to do a better job as parents. We need to do a better job as a community. We need to do a better job as neighbors, and we need to do a better job as human beings to educate our next generations. As I said in prior meetings, you know, furlong of 2019 is the furlong of 1920. So we need to make sure that our a great district looks like furlong today, and also we do what Martin Luther King preached, which is education is about intelligence and character, both, not one, both. I do agree with you, Elise, in terms of having actual time to discuss items new to us at workshop meetings. That is something that we should, I think, a lot of us would agree. I would like to see from Mr. I would like to see if we can get at the next workshop meeting from Mr. Norcia an update of the status of televising our meetings on Furlong TV and the public access, which is the public access channel. I believe this will increase our outreach to the community as a whole, outside of the whole YouTube, channel, and provide greater transparency, which we are all for. The taxpayers of Furlong should see how we vote on their tax dollars, which equal to about 63 cents for every dollar they pay in taxes. It's their money, not our money. They should be able to see how we vote, not just on YouTube, but also on the public access channel, which will have a huge audience, also to disseminate the information for the district to a greater audience. I would like to know if it's possible for our next workshop meeting that we receive a report. I don't know if it could be an open session or closed session. I would like to receive a report on attendance of the staff, break up to, from last year or the last 3 years, break up by schools, staff attendance. Also, I would like to know if the board agrees on having the district study the possibility of what will be the financial impact of having morning care start instead of 7:15, so you can start 7 o'clock. What will be the financial impact of that decision? That, if we can have that information, if the federal board members would agree for the district to research what will be the financial impact and personnel impact of providing morning care instead of 7:15 at 7 o'clock to help parents, working parents. I would like to know, Mr. Norcia, when will the board receive the first report on how our juniors are doing at Bergen Community College? Our juniors that are doing the dual program. When are we gonna receive the first report? And last but never least, I'm sure a lot of you have read this. The World Health Organization has classified processed meat as a carcinogen. The American Cancer Society is calling for limiting red and processed meat to help reduce colon cancer risk and possibly the risk of other cancers. They also stated that the occasional hot dog or hamburger is okay. The American Cancer Society has long recommended a diet that limits processed meat and red meat, and that is high in vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. So I would like to know as a board member if we can receive information in terms of the school lunch that our children receive, if from the provider, if they can give us some information in terms of the amount of processed meat that our children are exposed to, or
They have guidelines they have to follow for.
Yeah, I would like to know.
I'm saying they have them.
It is available on our
Yeah, it's on
website.
I was just gonna say, it's available on our website.
If they can provide it to the board.
It's on our website.
Okay, if they
Yeah.
can,
And they're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna, you can ask them.
I'm sorry, wait, like.
We'll talk about it
based on
later.
A menu item.
What do you want, menu items? What do you wanna know?
It's on the website.
What exactly do you wanna know, like, you want a report of the amount of processed meat that's in the school lunches?
in a given month,
In a given month?
how often?
See what Mr. Bartley can do for you.
In addition to the other stuff that I stated. Thank you very much.
Any other comments from the board, Emily?
So just on the topic of the work session on October 10th, I'm not sure if the administration would be prepared for a work session, but one possible idea for the board to consider is moving the work session to 8 o'clock on Monday, October 7th, because we're scheduled to meet for a policy.
We're not meeting for policy that night.
Oh, we're not meeting?
No, we're changing it
Okay.
because Mr. Garcia can't be there.
Then anyway. The other thing I want to say, just a point of order, I know we already did public comment, but I noticed a community member walked in late who I think wanted to say something to the board. I just wonder if the board would allow them to speak.
Motion to suspend the rules.
I need a second on the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Franco?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
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 Wallace?
Yes, but let me bring a point of order and point of information. You can't leave letting this happen, because then you're breaking all the rules that you go by, your bylaws and stuff, I'm just letting you know. So I don't have a problem with it, but if it keeps happening, then you might as well just take your agenda and do what you want, so.
To clarify, it's only one individual, not the opening.
Okay. Whoever that is, please step to the podium and state your name and sign in, please.
Sure. My name is Ron Heisler, 4010 Patterson Street. What I wanted to talk about is I've got a daughter that goes to Mills, but I have talked to several parents, and we feel that the transition from K grade to first grade is substantial already. And one thing that we've noticed is that there are no more snacks or snack time allowed for those kids. Something that they had at K grade, and they're not having that anymore at first grade. I think that this is something that needs to be reconsidered or reevaluated as they go through extensive curriculum and other activities throughout the day, and it's something that they still need, being, especially at this age, being very young. It's something that I've heard from other parents as well. Kids need to, study and stay concentrated from early morning till lunchtime, and they have to deal also with the transition to the cafeteria. So it's a lot to handle, especially at first grade. I think it's something that maybe the board should consider reinstantiating, even if it's in class. So kind of like allocate like a 10 minutes break, or even within an activity to allow them to have a light snack.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you talking about just first grade or continuing all the way through the fourth grade?
I mean,
fifth grade?
Ideally, I would like to see it all the way up to 4th, 5th grade, but first grade is kind of in the transition
That's-
here,
yeah,
and it's
no
the
problem.
most
Just wanted to know, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
I'm not clear on the processed meat question. Does the board want Brooke to spend time looking at this situation? Or do we want to just be able to look at the menu? I mean, it's just because one board member asked the administrator to do something, I'm not sure where we left off with.
Wilkin?
What's the problem?
No, we're not getting into a confrontation. Gene asked a question.
It's a procedural.
He asked a procedural thing, so we're not getting into a back and forth. So, does the majority of the board want
us to spend
Time
time
on
looking at the process
and
meat
getting a report
on
to
a monthly
us?
basis? That's all we need to know.
I never meant as a monthly basis, on a given month.
Okay, on a given month, does a majority of the board want the administration to spend time on this? That's what I need to know. Thumbs up or
How
thumbs
many
down?
days in months? Something, just email the food provider and they'll provide.
Cindy?
It's on the app.
I understand.
Isn't the
Can I just
menu
run the meeting, everybody, please?
On the
Thank you.
website?
It's on the website, it's on the app, and all that information is on there.
Okay.
I'm gonna just take one other comment, and then we're gonna just
I
get a
just wanted
thumbs
to
up.
know if it
Emily,
was on.
that's it.
So I'm very naive when it comes to food, but like my kid orders the hamburger, I don't know if the hamburger is processed or not processed. So if I'm looking at the menu, I can't quite tell just by reading the menu items I'm just gonna finish the thought. That
I know.
being said, I think this is part of a broader conversation about nutrition and policy, and it's something that we as a board might wanna take a look at in terms of our long-term strategic goal around wellness, to have a more comprehensive conversation around these things and not just this pointed question that just at this point in time. So I will vote if it's a thumbs up, thumbs down. Do we want the administration to look into this right at this very moment? I'd vote no, but that doesn't mean that I don't think it's an important topic to talk about at some point, and that's all I'm gonna say.
it's.
I will do the
no-
research, I will do the research myself.
It's.
Thank you.
First of all, excuse me, can you let people respond? You had a chance to talk. Mr. Garcia wants to respond back, so allow him to do that, the courtesy of it, please.
It's
Okay, I'm
not-
asking you nicely, as a gentleman.
It's not disrespect in any way to anybody, but we operate as a board of a whole. And if we start researching things individually for everybody, nothing in the district will get accomplished moving forward. So it's not a disrespect thing, it's a time thing, and an organizational thing, and a procedural thing. So I really, it's up to the board, and that's what I said, I understand that you rescinded it, but that's all it is, it's up to the board. If you want us to spend our time on this, that's fine, but the majority of the board should decide. I want you to look into before care time, I want you to look into process meet time. We can't just have one board member
I
asking
call the
all.
question.
So,
I
that's
call
it.
the question, let's find out.
There is no
what the board
question.
wants.
There is no question anymore, as far as that
Oh, he
question.
rescinded it, I got it.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Good for you.
Okay, seeing none, that's it. Okay, meeting dates. So right now, we had scheduled the policy meeting to October 7th. Unfortunately, Garcia cannot be here, and we need him here. So we are gonna reschedule that meeting for October 28th at 7 PM.
28?
October 28th, Monday, October 28th, 7 PM.
The Halloween costume policy meeting.
We also have a meeting October 10th,
Wait,
Ron, what time?
7 PM. We also have a work session scheduled for October 10th. Being that's the autism night, we are gonna discuss it, Mr. Garcia and myself, and we might try to move that work session because I think it's very important to go there and support them. And by the way, as Mr. Garcia stated, if you've never been there, it is one of the greatest nights in the world to watch these children perform and then come out in the audience, and it's just, it's awesome. Okay, so I mean, I'd be in favor of moving the work session. And then we have our monthly board meeting.
Excuse me,
Go ahead.
when are we gonna know, when is the workshop meeting?
We will know within the next week.
But how many days in advance will we know?
We'll know a week in advance. We could throw dates around now if you want.
That would be good, I mean,
You know, I'm just saying.
some of us work a little far away.
I understand that.
Alright.
And I work too, and I teach also.
I work in another state,
And
so
I
I need to
teach
know.
at night too. also.
I need to know ahead of time.
Okay, well, we'll get it to you. Okay, we haven't
Just a
decided.
couple of days.
So, how many people want to have the work session on the 10th?
At all.
At all? We want to have the work session on the 10th, the board members. Everybody thumbs up or thumbs down? You want to have the work session on the 10th? Put your hands up. That's the autism night. If you want to have it at the 10th, just tell me up or down. Let's just do it right there. I don't want to have it that night, okay? That's just me. All right? So, the only other date we got, can't do it October 7th because Mr. Garcia is not going to be there.
Why don't we just cancel the October work
So-
session? Put that up for a vote. But just-
How many people want to cancel the October work session? Or they want to, how many people want to cancel the October work session? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I mean, the
Wait.
October one's just
Okay.
maybe.
Thumbs down, don't cancel.
Thumbs down, don't cancel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. So we don't want to cancel it, 5 want to keep it, that's fine. Let's find a date now. So the only date we can look at is October 14th, the Monday. So Mr. Norris can't do October 14th.
Columbus Day.
I understand it's Columbus Day, but just saying you can't do it. So, the only other date you gotta do then is a possibility if you wanna do. You want- wanna do October 9th?
Yom Kippur.
That's correct. I knew there was something on that night. Okay, I apologize. I knew there was something on that night.
Tuesday the 8th?
Nope, yes, Yom Kippur, and I can't, I'm teaching. I'm not canceling my class, because that's the second week of my class. You wanna do it the 16th?
It's only one day before the board meeting.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, if people wanna have the work session, I'm just saying.
As long as the agenda is not. This is second agenda.
You're not bringing up any other items other than the agenda?
That's all we've done.
What we want to change?
That's down the line, that's down the line. That's what we used to do. Many years ago, the work session was just specific topics that we discussed. We didn't discuss the agenda. So, you wanted, what'd you say? All right, so then we're just gonna keep it October 10th.
Can't have it on the 16th?
Nope.
Day before.
Not the day
back to
before, we're
back.
not gonna have a work session the day before.
Because then
Come back
we have
the
to
next
change the
day.
agenda, we have to change it by the next
We'll
one.
Take another vote now that we know what our circumstances are.
How many people wanna keep the work, don't wanna have a work session in the month of October? We got 4.
Five.
No,
Wait,
no,
five.
Cindy's not up.
No,
1, 2.
no work session is.
One,
Oh,
two,
3, 4, 5.
3, 4, 5.
So we can't.
Cancel the work session for October. So we'll have the October 17th monthly board meeting. And whatever we didn't discuss at the work session, we can bring up at the board meeting.
October 17th.
October 17th, 7:30 is our board meeting. Just so everybody understands, it's a week earlier because we have school boards. So we'll be down, some bunch of us will be down in Atlantic City, a lot of seminars and stuff. And that's it. I need a motion to go into closed session. Take 5-minute recess.
I'm hang out.
How much